Good afternoon, everyone, and today I will be showing you guys a tutorial of how to do your financial aid. It's gonna be a step-by-step process. Please follow and make sure you guys take notes. So now let's begin. So the first thing you guys going to do, you're going to log in to Google. Then you're going to type in FASFA, or in short, or you could type in on the heading part to type in studentaid.gov apply for aid/FASFA. Once you click on that, you're ready to move on. The first part you're going to see here, you're going to click on FASFA or application financial aid, where I create the arrows where you can see the very first website that you see. That's the one you're gonna click. Then the next step you're going to get a home page here where it has the home page of the FASFA. You're going to see two icons. There are multiple icons, but most importantly, the two that you're going to look for is new to the FASFA process, where it says here, or if you're a returning student, you will click on the login if you already created a login but you just haven't started the FASFA form as a whole. The next thing you're going to click on for the new student that is coming in. So I'm gonna go back to show you guys for the new student that is coming in for the 2022 fall year. This will be more important for you guys to take notes. So you're going to click here where it says new to FASFA form. So you will click to get started. Okay guys, I hope you guys are following. Then you're gonna get a Fasfa Deadline page where when you put your state as well as the year that you are coming in, it will show you what the time and date that they will be receiving the FASFA application. So they give you a certain deadline so that way you could follow it. Okay guys, then the next thing you're going to do after you finish putting those information in the two boxes here, you're gonna click on next. And if you look below the page, you will have the information of how to complete the FASFA, finding help to if you don't understand certain things about the FASFA, as well as renewing your FASFA form. Okay guys, next. Now once you click on login, especially for new student, you're going to get two options. Now if you are a student that is new as well as you are applying for the FASFA form, you will say I am a student and I am applying for the FASFA form. Now if you are a parent that is filling out for the student, you will click I am a parent from a freely associated state. So it could be someone that is helping the student create the FASFA form. Okay, so you have two options. Now if you're a parent, I will get into that further on in the tutorial. You will also have to create a Fafsa Id if you're creating for the student, so that way you could connect your account to your children's account, so that way the information that they need, such as the tax information that they will need to process the whole outgoing application, will be connected to the student. Okay, next. Then after you click that I am a student, you will create a username. So sometimes the username could be something you could create from the top of your head, so long do you remember it, or you could create the username based on your email address, which such as your Gmail or your Yahoo or any form of email that you use day-to-day basis, or you could use your cell phone number as the username, and then you will create the password. Okay, so or you could create, if you're a parent and you're continuing for the student, you may do the same thing. So for an example, if we click on I am a parent that is filling out for the student, you will put the name of the student, the last name, the social, as well as their date of birth. So it's basically the financial aid will be asking for the student that you're connecting or applying to be yours, and that's the information that they're going to use to create their FASFA. Okay, next. So after you click on accept, you put the information either for the parent or for the student that you're applying for. You're gonna click on the accept. You're gonna get a warning sign indicating that any information that is not true here, you may be penalized to a fee. And then once you agree to the terms, you're just gonna say accept. Now the next thing you're going to see on the website, you will see two different applications. So if you're a student that is returning for the school year, you will click on the 2021 and 2022 if you were starting this year and let's say in spring. Now if you're a student that will be starting in the fall, you will click on the 2022-2023, which will connect to the next year's application, which you won't have to do for the spring of 2023. So once you click on fall 2022-2023, either or, you're gonna be ready to continue. So the next thing they're going to ask you after you click on the application that you're going to be doing, they're going to say create a safe key. So the safe key could be 4 digits or sometimes 3 digits depending on the number that you're going to remember. Make sure you take notes and write the safe key or those information down, or even take pictures so that way you will remember how to log into your FASFA after it's created. Okay, we're moving on. Then if you're a student that, like I said, if you're new and you have some questions that you may have difficult with, financial aid or the FAFSA process automatically have questions for day-to-day students that's going to be asking the same questions, such as how to save the FAFSA if I can't finish it. You know, all these questions that the students may have, they already list them down below. All you got to do is click on one, and based on those triangles, it's going to explain to you what it is. Okay, now we're moving on to the next one. Now we're going to be talking about the parents as well as student dependency or parole data. Okay, parental data. So we're going to click. So the first thing you're going to see is after you create that information, you create the login, you're going to put your social security. You're also going to put your first name, your middle initial, last name, as well as your date of birth. Now as you can see, each time that you finish an application, you're going to see the application be saved at the very top. Now another thing that you're going to see as well is each of the application parts of the FAFSA form has a section to finish until you finish the whole process. So you have the school or the student demographics, you have the school selection, you have the dependency status, you have the parents demographics, you have the parents financial as well as the student financial, and then you're going to see assign and submit and confirmation. So in total you will see at least 7 section steps, and then the last one, which would be considered as 8, you would say, is considered as the last step, which is the confirmation part. Okay, we're moving on. So like I said, the 8 sections as well as the most important ones are the 7 out of the 8, because most of those, as you complete them, you will see normally if you're doing the application on your end, if you're a student or a parent, you will see a large check mark on the top of the sections, and once they're complete, you're going to see them turn green. Okay, so then they're going to ask you the student information. You're going to put your email address. You're going to manually type it in because you can't copy, you have to type it in completely, and then you're going to type in your telephone number, and then you're going to continue. The next part you're going to see they ask you for your your address, which is where you live. So you're going to put your address, you're going to put your city, you're going to put your state, as well as the zip code. Once you put those information in, you're ready to continue. The next step you're going to see is they're going to ask you, have you lived in, let's say, whatever state or part of the country you live. They're going to put that information here, least than 5 years or more. If you have lived longer, you will say yes, you live longer in the state or the area that you live. And then they will ask you if you're the citizen of the country, and if you are, you're gonna say yes, I am a citizen. Now, just in case you're not a citizen nor still waiting on that information to become a citizen, there's a small triangle here that you're going to click, where it gives you the option of I am a US citizen, I am a non-US citizen, or I am a permanent resident. So they will give you the option here once you click on the triangular below. Okay, we're moving on. Then they're going to ask you here, once you put that information, right, and you say I am a citizen and everything, you put those information in, then you're gonna be ready to continue. The next thing they're going to ask you is, so for most of the students that are coming back, or especially new student as well, for the new student mostly, they're going to ask you what's the highest, basically the highest education you're going to be coming in the fall year. You're going to say high school diploma because this is the only degree that you have so far. And then if you're a student that never attended college before, you're going to put here you're going after a associate's degree. Normally it would be a bachelor's degree if you were in a 4-year school, but since you're starting in a 2-year institution, you will put associate's degree. Then they're going to ask you here with the first year, would you be going after your bachelor's by the time whatever the year is going to be? You're going to say no because you're going after a associate's degree. Okay, and down here they're going to ask you here, at what grade level would you begin the whatever school year? So right now it would be your 2022 as well as dash 2023 school year. You're going to say you never attended college before, or if you did attended college before, you also going to put those information down. So they also give you different information here. And another thing, for students that didn't have a high school diploma but has like a GED, something equivalent to high school diploma, they also give you those options here as well. Okay, and then you will fill out based on those small triangle here. They gives you option to answer you what fits you best. Okay, so we're moving on. The next thing they're going to ask is basically inside the student information yet again. They're going to ask your gender, so you're going to put your gender, and then you're going to continue. Now for most men, mostly men, for men that are going to be applying for financial aid or new student as well, most men are allowed to pick something called a selective service. So selective service is citizen. For most citizen as well as male immigrants must register with the selective services to receive federal aid. Meaning, in case a war breaks out and they need more, I would say, troops or soldiers, you are allowed to fill out if you want to be registered into the selective service, or if you can't decide now and you said, do you want to be requested, or you wouldn't mind if they register you instead of you putting as a yes. So you could keep those options as yes or no, and then based on the following you may continue. But that's mostly for men that are applying for aid. This is a requirement for you to get your financial aid. Okay, we're moving on. Then they're going to ask you if you have a state ID or a license. You will put the information of the license here, which is the number that's inside the license, and then you will put the license state based on the state that you get your license. Okay, and then once you put those information, you're going to say continue. Now they're going to ask you, have you ever been in the foster home care, or have you or foster kid, indicating if your parents is deceased and it's mostly the government that kind of raised you. You're going to put that information if it's yes or no, and then you're going to move on. Now below they will ask you a question on what is the highest education that your parents completed. Sometimes it could vary depending on parent. One parent may say high school, that your parents finished one of them, and then the second parent could be that they finished college, so it would be college or beyond. So they could have got like their bachelor's or a master's. So sometimes those questions varies, but they give you the options like what was the highest education your parents got. They even have middle school or even lower than that, so just put those information in if you have to. And then once you put the information that you needed, you're gonna say continue. You're moving on. The next thing you're going to see here, each time that the application is done and is finished a section, you're going to see it says student demographic is complete, which indicate it will have a small circle check on it. On my part, it will say that's how it will go in, indicating the application was successfully saved at the same time you're processing it. But in your end, you may see that the check mark will be on the top of the student demographic, which means both of them will turn green. Okay guys, then the next step is you're gonna say what is the high school name that you have. You will put the high school name. So this time you're looking on the next section of the financial aid, which is the student demographics. On the students school selection right here. Okay, so after you finish the student demographic, they will save everything, and now you're back here guys. So just stick with me and make sure you guys take notes as I go on to the second part of the school selection. So you will put the high school name that you finish, and then you will put the city as well as the state, okay, or the state where the high school is located. Once you put those information in, you're ready to continue to the next page. Then your high school will pop up here based on the selection. It's basically you will put the information and then they will confirm it's the right high school. They will give you a list of selection. So once you pick the list of selection and you find your high school, you're just gonna click it here, select it, and then you're ready to continue to the next page. Okay, now once you get to the next page, if you're a student that basically going to a 2-year or even a 4-year, you normally have something called the federal school code. Now once you put the federal school code based on the counselor, the school that you're going to have the code, you will manually put the code in, thus by finding the college location as well as the city and the school's full name. Once you put the code in, you will put the information in, and then the school name will pop up here. Once the school name pop up, you're ready to click on it here. It's gonna be very similar to how you look for the high school. So once you click it here, you're ready to move on. Now once the high school as well as the college is in, you're going to see the college or the university that you're going to here. Also you will see the federal school code, and now they will ask you if you want to stay on campus, or you're going to be commuting, or you're going to be off campus. So like I said, the triangle is also the selection yet again to look upon if you're going to be on campus, off campus, if you're going to be commuting. So if you're a student that's going to be commuting from school to home, is going to be off campus, which means it's indicating that you will be traveling back and forth to school. Okay, once you put the information of the location where you're going to be for your school, then you're ready to continue. Now once each application is done, you will see, like I said, each of them was going to change colors. They're going to change green, and like I said again, you will see a larger check mark at the top of the section instead of the smaller check circle. Okay, so now we're under the dependency status. So if you're a student, they will ask what is your marital status as of today. So if you're a student that is married, you're going to put married. They also give you the small selection triangle here indicating if you are married, not married, separate, single. So if you're a student that is single, you're gonna put single, and then you're gonna click continue. Whichever one it is, once you put it in, you're just gonna click continue. The next part is we're going to continue at the dependency status. Is if you're a student that has kids, or you have a kid that is depending on you, or such and so, you're going to say if yes, you have a student that's depending on you. Like if a returning student or a new student has kids, you're going to say yes, you have a student that's depending on me. If you're a student that don't have kids, you're going to say no for both of them. Okay, but if you do, you will say yes for both of them. Once you put the selection of your choosing that fits your description, you're ready to continue. The next part you're going to see, they will list of things that that connects to your status. Is if you're a veteran, if you currently on active duty for the U.S. Army, if you have anything when you turn 13 where your parents were deceased, and that basically the court or the system was the one that was helping you raise, that also connects to the foster informations as well. So if none of these are applied to you, then you're gonna say none. If you didn't have no parent, legal guardianship, or of anything kind, and legal residence and stuff, if you have none of these applied to you, then you're not gonna want to click here. You're just gonna click on none of the above. Once you pick the information that best describe you, then you're gonna click on continue. Then they're going to ask again, have you ever been homeless or was at the verge of being homeless? If you didn't have none of those issues, you're going to say no. If you do, you're going to say yes. And then once you put the information in, you're ready to continue to the next page. Then for right here, for most students that are new, like I said, that are coming into the 2022 fall year, most of you guys will probably use your parents' information to complete the financial aid form. So when they ask you on this part of the dependency status, will you provide your information about your parents? So if you're a student that's going to be using your parents' tax information or any sort of information, you will say, I will provide information about my parents. So you will click on the first one option. If you're a student that is older and you already have your own information, such as tax information or anything that's dealing with your personal information, you will say, I am unable to provide information about my parents, indicating that the information that you're going to provide is probably someone else that's taking care of you, or you're taking care of yourself, which means you can't unable to provide the information of your parents. Okay, once you pick out of those two, you're ready to continue. Now, like I said, guys, as each application section that I complete, you will see here it changed colors and the application is successfully saved. Okay, and then once each part is saved, it's gonna say application was successfully saved. Okay, sometimes the application is manually saved, or sometimes that there's going to be a small box here that says save FASFA. You could click on it and it will save it for you. Okay, now depending on the parent demographics here, which this is where we are now, they basically ask, as of today, what is the marital status of your parents? Now if you're a new student, based on the tax information of your parents, if you look, if your parents is single, it will say single. If it says married or remarried, you're going to say it here. If it says head of household, you're also going to say it here as well. So all these information for parent marital status is going to be once you click on the triangular option here. Then they're going to ask out of the single, married, or jointly. They're going to ask you, when did your parents get remarried or married, or when did your parents got, like if you put separate here, they will need the month as well as the year when they got separate. So it varies amongst each of them. Like if they got married, it was the year as well as the month as well. Okay, once you put the option that you need, you're ready to continue. Then they're going to ask for your parents' social information as well as their last name or their first initial and their date of birth. And if your parents has a Gmail, that is good as well. And then you're going to retype your parents' Gmail here. Once you put those information of your parents' information, you're ready to continue to the next page. On the next page, if you have two parents, which indicating that they are both in the tax information, which means you will have to put both of their information in. So then you will put second parent, you will put their FASFA, their social security, you will put their last name, initial, as well as their date of birth the same way. And then you're going to click continue. Then they will say how long do your parent has lived in, let's say whatever state it is. If it's more than 5 years, you're going to say yes. If it's less than that, you're going to say no, and then you're ready to continue. Now here is information of based on household and how many people that is going to be going to college. So if you're one student, let's say out of the 3 children your parents have, if you're the only kid that is going to college, it's going to be counted as you have 2 parents, so you're going to put 2. And then if it's yourself that's that lives with your parents, you're going to say just yourself that's in the household with your parents. And then if your parents has any other outside children that's basically living with them, you will put that information in. So if both of these are 0, indicating that no kids that's going to be going to college. So if you're the only one that's with age that is going to college, you're going to put that information in. If you're not, out of the 3, I would say that don't have the capacity to be going to college, indicating that you're still underage and you're still in high school, it means that you're not ready to go to college yet, indicating that there's no kids besides yourself that's going to be going to college. Okay, once those information are put in, you're going to say it's going to add up to just yourself that's going to be going to college, and then you're going to click on continue. Okay, and then you're going to move on to the next page. And now each part of the application is finished. Yet again, you're going to see this parent demographic is saved. Now you're going to go under parents finances. So on the parent finances, you're going to see they're gonna ask you, like for the students that are coming in for the fall 2022 and dash 2023 year. Yet again, your parents must bring the information of the tax 2020, which means that instead of 2019, you will put 2020 tax. So if your parents already completed the application, it's gonna say already complete. So you're gonna see the same triangles as before, and they will give you the basically the selection of what fits the description of your parents' tax application form. So if your parents already completed the FAFSA form, you're gonna say already completed. If you click on the triangle here and you put your parents not going to file or will file, you will put the options here. And most tax information are 1040 forms, but in case sometimes they're not, when you click down here, it will give you a 1040/foreign form, indicating that your parents are back home but they could still file taxes, which means you could still use their information. All those information are all down below once you click on the triangle. And then on the application, when you click on the marital status of your parents, like what is the information that's accordingly to the parents' tax. If your parents filled out with joint or return, or did they file single or head of household. All those information could be found in the small triangle once you click on it. Once all that information is in, there's another option where you could use where you could link the application FASFA to the IRS form website, and once you click here, you're gonna say next. So once you click next, it basically, the triangles that you see guys going back and forth, the information is basically telling you that the both application could vary back and forth to basically swap information to fill out the FASFA information for your parent. Okay, once those information in, you're gonna look thoroughly to your parents' tax information. They're going to ask your adjusted gross income for your 2019 or 2020 based on whatever form tax that you're going to be using for your fall 2022 year. Once you put those information, you're going to click on next. And like I told you before, you guys can also click on the IRS form. Once that's connected, all these information could be filled in by transferring that information from the irs.gov to the actual FASFA form. So once all these information are in, right, so each step they will ask you information about your parents' tax. So if certain things doesn't apply to the parent, such as things about like financial aid for certain years that you wasn't doing things for financial aid, you will click on there. Based on the parents' tax, you will see all those information here. So once all these things are filled out, right, if all these doesn't apply to the parent and the rest of the application, you will see each line of the tax, you will see each information are listed. So if certain things are 0, it will tell you you have to put 0 depending on the tax that you're looking at, how each things are varied depending on the information they're asking. Okay, once all these information are in for each parent or from the tax information, okay, so if you are a person that's gonna be asking your parents question like for that parents asset or not, so you're just gonna click on no and you're gonna click on continue. So once all these information are in, like I said guys, you're going to get a second part, but this time is going to be talking about the student financial part of the financial aid. So if you already answered each and every one of the section of the application, you will see that they all has turned green, and now you're going to be going to the student finance. Once you get to the student finance, they're going to ask you the similar questions to your parents. They're going to say, have you already completed information, like if you're a new student, like I said, new student or returning student. If you're a student that works but you still use your parents' tax or you do your own taxes, this is when the student financials come in as well. So if you're a student that work and you already completed your tax information, you're going to say already completed. And like I said, most IRS tax forms are 1040s. If you're a student on your own taxes and you put single, you're going to leave it as single. Now, like I said, if you click on the triangles, you will see that when you click on each triangle, it gives you the same information similar to the parents. So if you already completed or not going to file, you put all those information down below just by clicking on the triangular, and then they will give you the same option as the parent. And they also give you the same option as the parent financial, where you could link this to your actual IRS account, where they could transfer that information that you're looking for, so that way it could stand as a fill-in. So it's going to be automatically filled in instead of you manually putting it in. Okay, then you're going to click on next. So once they give you the option to do that, you could do the same thing and then you continue. And then if all these information, and if you're a student that don't have kids, like I said, that doesn't have someone that's depending on you based on inside your taxes, most information that's for the student will be 0, because you're not being I would say taxed, mostly because you don't have somebody that's dependent, so they would tend to take more tax off you when you don't have support person that you're doing. Okay, so once you put those information in, right, so the same information, so like I said, most of these will be 0 here, and because not too many taxes are taking off that it's gonna be focused on if you have a dependency. If you don't have a dependency of someone that's you're taking care of, most of these, like I said, will be 0. Then you're ready to continue. So once you put all those information in, you're going to see the application says successfully saved. They're going to ask you here if you're prepared, so indicating if you're ready to move on to the next step. You could say yes or no, and then you're just gonna click on next once that is saved then. And then you will get a summary of the page. So the summary of the FASFA is basically, before you click on submit or sign in, see all these right here, they're the one that you just completed from the past sections. So all the sections, you could see them again, and you will see all the questions that you put down based on the summary. When you look on each part of the summary, you will see that it has the title as well as the information that you put in down here. So you will see on all of them, like parents finance, you will see all those information here. So sometimes you could print the summary, or you could just leave it the way it is, but I suggest that you could either print it or you could save it, so that way you could see if all these information are correct. Once all those information are correct, ready to continue to the next step, you will get at the very bottom where it says sign in and submit. You're gonna get down here, you're gonna click on next. Once you click on next, now this is where it gets a bit I would say small challenging. Is going to have 2 signatures. One of them, which is yourself as a student, they will say provide student signature. You're going to click on here. Once you click on the student signature, it's gonna turn green. If you're a parent that is creating the FASFA application for the student, the other option they will give you is you have to create a FAFSA ID for yourself to connect to the student as well. I said that earlier, and I'm gonna say again. If you're a parent they're gonna be asking, or they're going to be asking the student to provide the parent's signature, you're gonna have to definitely click on that to connect to the student account. Now, if the student cannot, I would say they cannot find the parent's signature, or they can't provide that, there's an option where you can print out. So when you click on the next page, there's an option. See what I was telling you guys here? You will get a page like this. Once you say provide signature, they're going to say I am the student and I agree to the terms and the outline above. You're going to say yes. You're going to click here. Then you're going to sign in here. You're going to say agree, and then you're going to click on next. Once you click on next, they're going to give you that page here. Basically, you sign in. It's like a electronic sign in. Once you give that electronic sign in, you're going to see it turn green. So sometimes you'll see all of it turn green, but on my part, it has just the green and the small bubble. But in your version, you may see, like I said, all of these will have a larger check mark at the top of the section, as well as this will also turn green. So this is an electronic signature here. Okay, basically tell you like everything has been completed here. Then for the parent, if you're a parent, you must create a FAFSA ID. So they definitely, once you create the same account as the student, you could look back the same process that I did, but the only difference is you're going to be saying you're doing it for a student. They'll ask you who are you doing this connection application to. So they will tell you to provide the student's name as well as the social security that goes along with your student name or your children's name. Okay, once you click on that, you will see both application here. So parent 1, parent 2. So if for students that have both parents, you could definitely put both parents so they could have their both signature. Now if the student cannot provide the signature as they were doing the application, there's another option for you guys. You could manually print out a sheet that basically tells the student they will need to physically put their parents' information once they print that sheet out, and then you could mail that information to I guess FASFA or the school or financial aid once that is signatures in. That way they will know that's the physical signature of the parent. Once the parent put their signature, let's say going back, if the parent already connects that to the student and the student already knew the parent's information, they will get a page similar to the student, and you will say, I am the parent and I agree to the terms in the outline above, and you're going to say agree, and then you're going to click on the next page. Once you get to the next page, you will get a similar page. You will have the parent's Fasfa ID as well as their password. All parents has to create a FASFA account so that way they could connect their information to their children's information. So if they need information about the taxes, they will definitely connect that to the parent. So long as the parent has an account themselves, that automatically connects so that way they could get the electronic signature. So once both information and you see, like I was telling you guys down here, there's two options that they give for the parent as well as the student. If the student cannot find the parent's information such as the electronic signature, there's an option down here which says print a signature page. The signature page is basically the page that the student would need. They could basically print that out so that way they can sign it manually from the parent physically, so that way they could send it to the financial aid, so that way they could agree to the terms, so that way that could go through. But if your parent, if the student could wait, they could save that part of the application here, right? And then they could come back and say submit without signature, indicating they will come back and they will sign that part and then they will submit it as a whole. Okay, and then once you pick the options here, you're gonna click on continue, and then like I said, this is how to a parent create the FASFA ID. It's very easy. So it's the same procedure that I did to create the students FASFA application. So you're gonna go to FASFA, you're gonna create the FASFA ID, and then you're gonna direct it to the another page from the online form. Once you allow the instruction, you will need to wait for 3 days while the system confirm your identity. So once all that information is in, you're gonna be good. Once all this information, so this part is mostly just for parents to create the FASFA ID if the student still needs their signature, and then once that information is in, you're ready to continue to the next page. So once both things, let's say you wait for the 3 days has passed and they confirm it, either way the option that you choose, you will get both signatures here complete, and this will be the electronically signature. So once both of those information are done, you're gonna click on submit here. Then you will get a page like this to say like you know, in case you want to take a survey. Once all those are complete, almost complete, then you will get a congratulation part right here indicating, okay, this student has successfully completed their FASFA form. Once all the FASFA form is complete, you're ready to basically start school. So you will know every semester that is finished. They will normally send you an email to indicate that you need to do renew your FASFA form. Once you get the hang of it, you're ready to continue your school year. And that is about it. And that's it.